Today, we are diving into an ancient text called Atma Darshan Rahasya, which tackles one of the biggest, most profound questions anyone has ever asked. This is really a journey right into the heart of the Bhagavad Gita's philosophy, all about understanding the true nature of who we are, and, well, the nature of reality itself.
So let's start with the big one, maybe the biggest one of all. What is the true nature of reality? It's a question that's been asked for thousands of years, and the answer we're about to explore is just fascinating, and it has absolutely stood the test of time. Now, to really get what the Gita is saying, you've got to understand the world it was born into. See, this question wasn't just asked in a vacuum. Oh no, it was at the very center of a massive philosophical showdown, what we can call the Great Debate.
You have to imagine, for centuries, some of the most brilliant minds across India were wrestling with this. There wasn't just one single easy answer. Instead, you had this incredible, vibrant landscape of different ideas and schools of thought all competing, each one with its own unique take on what reality really is.
In this huge debate, two major players kind of stepped into the ring. On one side, you had the Vaisheshika school. They argued that reality is basically atomic. It's all built from these tiny, fundamental, indivisible particles called Parmanu. But then the Samkhya school came along and said, nope, that's not it. They proposed that everything we see actually evolves from one single primal source called Prakriti. So the stage was set. Is everything made of countless separate bits, or is it all connected to one unified source? So where does the Bhagavad Gita fit in all this? Well, this is where it gets really clever. Instead of just picking a side in this debate, the Gita comes along to reveal a more complete picture, a kind of synthesis that actually finds a way to bring these two opposing ideas together.
Okay, so the Gita's big idea starts with something we can all relate to, the world right in front of us, the one we experience every single day. The Gita calls this kshara, or the perishable world.
This first piece of the puzzle is a concept called kshara. And kshara, it means the perishable. And when they say perishable, they mean everything. Everything that changes, that decays, that's temporary. The entire physical universe, from the stars way out there to our own bodies right here.
Here's a great way to think about it. Picture waves crashing on a beach, right? They form, they get huge, they break, and then they're gone back into the sea. That constant state of change, that temporary form, that's kshar. Okay, but wait. If everything we see is just a temporary wave, then what's the ocean? What's the stuff the waves are made of? Well, that question brings us to the second big concept, the imperishable self. And this is called akshara, or the imperishable. It's the exact opposite of kshar. Akshar is the unchanging, eternal foundation that exists underneath all that change. When we talk about ourselves, it's that constant awareness, that core self that exists beyond our temporary bodies and our ever-changing minds. So, let's go back to our analogy. If kshar is all those crashing, changing waves on the surface, then akshar is the ocean itself, vast, deep, and fundamentally unchanging in its essence, even when the surface is a chaotic mess. You can actually start to map out reality this way, which is pretty cool. Things like our physical bodies, the physical world around us, our individual egos, those all fall under the category of kshar, the perishable. But beneath all that, you have the deeper causal body, the primal nature of things, and the unchanging soul. And those belong to akshar, the imperishable. It's like a complete map of existence.
All right, so we've got the perishable and the imperishable, kshar and akshar. But, and this is the really mind-bending part, the Gita says that's not the whole story. There's a third, ultimate reality that holds everything together.
It forces you to ask, right? If you've got the waves and you've got the ocean, what's holding it all? What is the container, the ultimate reality that allows for both to even exist? And the Gita's answer to that is a concept called Purushottama, the supreme being. This is the ultimate reality that is beyond both kshar and akshar. It's not just one or the other, it's the source that contains, sustains, and goes beyond both the changing world and the unchanging self. And there it is. That's the Gita's complete three-tier model of reality. First, you have the perishable world of changing forms, kshar. Then, underneath it all, you have the imperishable, eternal foundation, akshar. And finally, containing and transcending them both, is the supreme source, Purushottama.
It's just a beautifully complete picture of existence.
So you might be thinking this is all fascinating philosophy, but why does any of this ancient stuff matter to me today in my modern life? And that's a totally fair question. An ancient idea, so what, right? How does a three-tiered view of reality from thousands of years ago have any practical use for us now? Well, when you really think about it, this framework gives us some incredibly powerful tools for modern life. It suggests that we can find a point of stability, our akshar, inside of us, even when the world around us, kshar, is constantly changing and chaotic. By identifying with that deeper, unchanging part of ourselves, we can maybe reduce the anxiety that comes from getting so caught up in temporary successes and failures. It's a framework for connecting our individual selves to something universal. It gives you a whole new perspective on reality. At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one beautiful idea. To know the self is to know the universe. By understanding these different layers within ourselves, we start to understand the very fabric of reality itself. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. If you truly embrace the idea that a part of you, the real you, is eternal and unchanging, how might that change the way you look at the challenges, the joys, and the decisions you face starting right now?